Bible 2017-2018, class number 37. Okay, a couple quick announcements. Number one is a mazel tov to Joy and Mark Drucker on buying a house in the area and moving into it.
Yes.
So we're excited to have you in, mazel tov, and getting a fridge with with the Shabbat mode on it.
Yes.
So Yasher Koach. Okay, and then
Small steps, Rabbi, small steps.
and some baby steps. So first thing, having the right fridge.
Yes.
Second of all, Rosh Hashanah is 2 weeks from last night. So, and make sure that you make your appointment with your local rabbi to kind of do a fiscal year-end, spiritual year-end accounting of your year and kind of what your goals should be for next year. And that's always a very healthy thing to do. You want to make sure that you're setting the proper goals to accomplish for next year. And certainly when you walk into court, you want to be prepared, and you want to make sure that you have your spiritual plan all squared away. So this is a good time of year to do that. So to suggest that as well. We're having the learner services. On the high holiday learner services, we have actually 4 locations, 4 data locations, and so we have the 4 data locations, which is 4 data locations down here, which will be led by myself, and we're having Rabbi Matas Cohn, who's going to be our chazan this year. The chazan last year, wonderful chazan, and Rabbi Edwin actually blowing shofar for us down here. And then we have data of Plano, Rabbi Zeka, Rabbi Robkin, and Rabbi Nissel. And then we have data of Richardson, which will be having their own learner service, as well as data of Farno Dallas Jewish Learning Center will be having their own service. So those are.
How many datas do we have?
We have 4 physical locations. Yeah, we have like 6 branches. So anyway, so that's kind of what's going on, what's available. And then we also we're doing the paragraph a day on the letter for the ages from Nachmanis that he wrote to his son. Something really worthwhile for everybody to go ahead and to be part of and to continue reading. Okay. Oh, and don't forget, if you wanted lulav and esrog for Sukkot, now's the time to order it. Okay. So. On that note, now we can continue. I think those are all the announcements, at least that I can remember off the top of my head. One more. Last but not least, the Jewish View of Wealth. It's a 3-part series. And we had last Tuesday night was the first class. We have tomorrow night is the second class. And next Tuesday night is the third class. You don't have to be at the first class in order to come to the second class or third class. But the Jewish View of Wealth will be continuing tomorrow and the following Tuesday. Okay.
So, when you say wealth, does it mean the financial wealth or does it mean spiritual wealth?
So we talked about that last week. That the wealth we always tend to think of physical, financial wealth, and we have to recognize that we have wealth. It comes in many different denominations. So you got to make sure you got the right wealth that you're looking at. But it's talking about this. Actually, was talking about financial wealth as well, right? And just how to get it and how to make sure you keep it. So that's going to be part of the stuff that's coming up. So just everyone's invited to come and to join us. And God willing, I will be putting it on Facebook for all our Facebook friends. The first class I only have an audio of, but God willing, tomorrow night we'll stream it as well on Facebook Live. Okay, so we are up to page 43, an amazing story. You're about to learn the future of the world in these 7 sentences. It's going to change the way you look at the world forever. And so we are up to chapter 9, verse number 18. We ended off last week talking about the rainbow, right? We ended up talking about the rainbow and how that there are 2 different types of rainbows, and there's a special blessing to make. God is Zochar Bris, right? V'nam B'viso, he remembers his covenant that he made with mankind, right? And that he's going to do, right? What he promised, that he's not going to destroy the world again, period. Right? It doesn't mean flood the world. Right? It's going to go ahead. He's going to just not destroy the world with a flood. Right? He said, but God promises He won't destroy the world at all. But the world, right? But again, a lot of the world could be destroyed, and people could still be drowned, and could still be floods. Just that the world itself would not totally be destroyed. So now we're coming to the most amazing story now about Noach going ahead and continuing now life in the world as we know it. And again, remember, we are all of Noach's, right? Noach is all our grandfather, right? Remember, right? It's a world, right? The whole world, entire world, is a descendant of Noach. And again, just to point out to you, right, is that we all descend from Noach, right? The entire world descends from Noach. And then remember what his wife's name is?
Mrs. Noah.
Mrs. Noah. Excellent. Right, okay, right. Otherwise known as Naama. Naama is Noach's wife's name. And again, and so who is Noach's great grandfather? What? Adam. Adam, and which son of Adam is Noach a descendant of?
Cain.
No.
Abel.
No. Abel had no descendants.
Right. That's why I said Cain.
Right. Wrong. No. Good guess.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, how many children did Adam and Eve have?
4.
6.
Hundreds.
Unknown. We don't know.
The Torah says they had many children, right?
But we don't
Right,
know
beginning of
exactly
chapter
how
5, it tells us that they had many children, right? So lots of children. But there are 3 of them that we know are named. What are the 3 we know that are named? Cain and Abel.
And the guy you don't know.
And the guy you don't know, right? Seth. Seth, okay? Seth is Noach's progenitor. Right, so Seth is, so we all descend from Seth. Now, just in order that you don't forget this, Noach's wife. Who is Noach's wife? Great grandfather? Adam. And which son did she descend through? Now Cain. Excellent. Okay. Right, she descended through Cain. So we actually on our mother's side, right, through Noach's wife, we descended of Cain, right, and through the father's side, Noach, we're descended through Seth. Why do we all descend from? Why did God want us all to descend from Cain?
Why God?
Why? Yeah. Why does he want to make sure that that we descend from Seth? And just a sound check. Are people online hearing the sound? If they could kind of just go ahead and just write online if they are. Okay. We'll find that. Yeah. So that's why. Why did God make it that we all descended from Cain? And again, Cain is okay. Yes, so the sound is working. So if your sound's not working online, check your own sound. Okay, thank you. So we go ahead and we have right. So why did God make it that we descend from Cain? Cain's a murderer. Why do we need to descend from a murderer?
I have a more complicated question.
Yeah. You're like a Jew. Yeah, it's a question with another question.
It's a very complicated one.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we are all from the same descendant, how come some of our Chinese, Koreans, Persians?
Okay, good. Okay, good, right. So how do we get all the different things? So if you wait,
Babel.
what?
Babel.
Tower of Babel. Well, that's going to be chapter 10. So if you hang on, we actually might even get there today. So, okay, it is possible. But the Tower of Babel, that's when, what's really interesting is that we go ahead, that we go ahead and now we're going ahead and it's moving forward, right? To and how do they become different? We look all different, right?
We act different. We are different.
Right, Shosha, right.
I have one thing I usually say myself, we all have different DNAs and we truly have different DNAs.
You didn't, but we all came from the same person. The whole world comes from Adam and Eve. Right? It's an amazing thing. Right? And so we go ahead, okay. So anyway, so go back to my question. I like my question. It's my question. Okay, so right, why does God actually it's not my question, it's I think Rashi might also say, right, why does the world have to descend from Cain? Is that everyone should understand that everyone's got a skeleton in the closet, and nobody could ever say they are better than somebody else, right? Because everyone's got some skeleton in the closet. Okay, right? To just recognize that, right? We all have everyone's got baggage. Okay, right? But everyone's got at least a skeleton in the closet, and so therefore, right? That doesn't, and it really doesn't matter, by the way, right? Because Cain did his thing, right? Cain failed his test, right? But that's and ultimately, by the way, right? He gets reincarnated as Korach, and he really fails, right? And he actually really ends up, right? He actually gets swallowed up and is totally destroyed, right? That's why, right? A Jew doesn't stay in hell more than a year, and Korach is still there today, sitting in the bowels of hell. He forfeited his right. His right to a share in the world to come. Right? So it really doesn't matter what your father did, what your grandfather did, what your great grandfather did. Right? Every person has the ability on their own to become the greatest person they can become. Right? And that's really our job. Right? Is that really we have to, right? We have to actualize our potential. So what somebody else does or doesn't do, right, that kind of is their own deal, right? Okay, good. So now Noah comes out. God says, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make the rainbow, right?" And the rainbow we said is a bow backwards, right? And we said that an archer, when he shows that he's surrendering, he turns his bow the other way around, right, facing him, and that's really what God is. It does. He takes a rainbow, he turns it downward, right, so that we know he's not shooting at us anymore with the rain.
So he promises never to destroy the world or never to flood the world.
That's a very good. He promises never to totally destroy the world again.
Period.
Period.
Fire? No. That's
no
not.
fire. No volcano. No earthquake. Right. No meteors. Right. He will not destroy the world again.
The entire world.
The entire world.
Right.
99% possible.
That doesn't mean that he can punish Houston with a flood, right?
Right, or again, or any right, It's any nation, any people, right? It's right. Again, it happens to be interesting. Always, we Jews have to pay attention because it seems that a lot of the calamities that happen around the time of Rosh Hashanah, right? And actually, it's interesting. After the flood last year in Houston, so I spoke at the learner service on Rosh Hashanah, and I said the following idea. I said, Houston has to figure out why Houston got flooded. That's not for any of us to say. We don't know what they did right, what they did wrong. Mm-hmm. That is Houston's job. I said, what we have to learn from that, right, Dallas, right, our lesson is that we actually needed the ability to do chesed, right? We needed to go ahead and we had to learn how to do kindness. That was our job, right, to go ahead and to do kindness. Right, and so learning how to do kindness and to do the right thing, right? So it's just, and that's what we Dallas had is right step up to the plate and do. Yeah. Right, that's why we ended up living close to 40,000 kosher meals, right down to Houston. That was something we were able to do besides all the other help, right? But that was our job, right? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we needed the chesed, we needed the merit on our balance sheet, and God gave us the opportunity. Right, so our job really is to worry about ourselves, really, not to worry too much about other people. Right, let other people worry about other people, yes. And my job is to worry about me. Right, do you understand? Right, that's really my job. Right, that's my motto. Okay, right. So
you remember the flood in Japan? I don't know if you were. There was a woman, a millionaire in Japan when the flood happened. Mm-hmm. She lost every house, bigger thing, everything, and then on TV he said, I thought I was relying on my material, everything, but they said he has a lot of tawny dog. You know, that's what left with her. And then her message is there's more than the material thing. I think she was talking about God.
About God, right? And that's really what it is, right? Is that, right? You don't have to worry about material things, right? We say the verse in Psalms, Al tiftachu b'nedivim. Don't trust in generosity, people's generosity, right? Al tiftachu b'ben adam, right? About a person, shein lo teshua, that doesn't have any, right? Doesn't have any savings, right? Right? Lucky is a person who trusts in God, right? And that's really, as we go through this world, right? We have to understand that there's nobody, right? That the only one, right? The one that keeps us, the one that makes sure that we keep on going, is God, right? That's really what it is, and God puts us through the test. That generally the things that we trust in, those are the things that walk away. Those are the things that disappear, because then those things, instead of helping us come closer to God, they keep us away from God. So learning how to truly trust in God, right, and to really to and not in anything else. That's really our job in life, right, and that helps us build a relationship with God. And so it's something that we really need to learn and practice. Yeah.
But Adam and Hava originally, when they started to have children, the children were supposed to last forever.
Yeah, sure.
And then, when did the angel of death start to take over?
The angel of death came over when they ate from the tree in the garden.
So God actually told them that we're gonna start killing you from now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And then, so we came up from the son of the murderer. What's the picture behind that?
So that was just right. Later on, Cain kills Abel, right? And so, right, and we learned about that story, right? How jealousy really is a prime motivator, and at the end of the day, right, the jealousy came in and brought destruction to the world, right? And so we all descend from Cain. We're all descendants from Cain.
We're not murderers.
What? No, because we all have our own free will. Just because your father, your grandfather, your mother, your grandmother, great-grandmother did something, at that point in time, right, you still have to become the best person you can become.
What happened to the third and the fourth and the whatever generation?
In what capacity?
Well, he said, wasn't that if you sin?
Oh, to the third. Okay, fine. Okay. Let me help you quote.
We're not all from Cain.
What?
There were other children in the garden.
There was Seth. No, not in the garden. Seth was born 130 years after we're kicked out of the garden. Noah comes from Seth. We all descend from.
And we all come from Noah.
And correct, but who was Noah's wife?
Just give us
Naamah. And Naamah, she descends from Cain. So that's just, I'm just letting you know. Okay, so Norm, you're not better than me just because you come from Abraham, but you also have Seth, and you also got Cain in the closet. Okay, just letting you know. We all do.
I missed it.
Okay,
Sorry.
right. Okay, good. Okay.
I didn't understand. Naamah is the one.
Naamah, Noah's wife. Naamah. N-A, and they usually do it like dash, A-M-A-H.
Is there an English version of that name?
Naamah?
Yeah,
Naamah. Actually, I know Naamah in town.
Oh.
It's not such a common name, but that's.
So how is she related to Cain?
She's great granddaughter. Great
Two more.
granddaughter.
That's eighth generation.
Right? She's the 10th generation. Cain was the second generation. She was the 10th generation.
But from Seth, from Cain.
Eight from Cain. Okay, so now verse number 18, right? Chapter 9, verse number 18, page 43.
What was that? Just real quick with the third and fourth generation.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you for keeping me on track, Isaac. Okay, so there are two verses in the Torah. In the 10 Commandments, it says that God remembers the goodness of what somebody does for thousands of generations. Says the Talmud, thousands of generations, at least 2,000 generations, you do something good, it can be passed down to your descendants 2,000 generations.
So let's say if I give him a coffee,
Right?
that's going to last for 1,000 years?
2,000 generations.
I'll buy you coffee.
Okay, right? Okay, 2,000 generations. It says, but if a person sins, God remembers it to 3 or 4 generations.
From the time of the
From the time of the sinner. Okay, that's what it says in, right? That's what it says in the right in the Aseret Adibros, right? In the 10 Commandments, right? It's chapter 20, right? It's chapter 20. It says, right? It says, right, page 409. If you're interested, chapter 20, verses 5 and 6. I would just read it for you. You should not prostrate yourself to them, to idols, nor worship them, for I am Hashem your God, a jealous God, who visits the sin of fathers upon children to the 3rd and 4th generation for my enemies, but who shows kindness for thousands of generation to those who love me and observe my commandments. Okay? You got it? Right? That's right, 2,000. Now the problem is, right, you got it? The problem is that later on in the Torah, it says, La yumsu avois abonim, bonim al avois. Right? That children will not die for the sins of their parents. So the Talmud says, okay, well, what's going on? Will you or won't you?
Well,
Right?
there's a difference between dying and him remembering.
Okay, so what does it mean remembering?
Well, I don't understand that because it could mean accounting, but if he remembers for 3 or 4 generations, that means the 5th generation he has to remember, but God never forgets.
It's a very good, right? So what does it mean? So certainly when it means remembering, it means become cognizant of. Okay? Right? Meaning that cognizant that God's going to act on it. Right? So that means
So
that...
as he judges me, he goes back 3 generations.
3 or 4 generations. Okay? So so I want to tell you a beautiful idea my father said, by the way, on this. And I'll come to that first. Let me tell you the first idea. So the first idea is that he goes for 2, right? At one place it says he does, one place it says he doesn't. So the Talmud goes, hey, wait a second, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right? What is it? Does he or doesn't he?
Yes or no?
Says the Talmud. Says the Talmud. When a person continues the sins of his parents, then when he gets punished for his own sins, he gets punished for their sins as well. If a person corrects the sins of their parents, then they have no connection to him, and he doesn't get punished at all. And that's the 2 verses. Right?
No,
Okay?
That's an interesting idea.
Right? Okay, now, I want to tell you something my father said. My father has such a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
He says, so it says that God remembers to 3 or 4 generations. So my father says, what, God doesn't know? Is it 3 or is it 4? Man, what do you mean 3 or 4?
So the more severe ones, he remembers for 4, and the not so severe is 3.
Interesting. Okay, that's not, okay, good. It's a thought. So my father says the following idea. He says, why does God remember 3 generations and sometimes 4? He says, because usually everyone has a relationship with their grandchildren, which is 3 generations. He says, some people have it even to their great-grandchildren. So that's why it says that for the sins to the children and grandchildren, that's 3 generations. It says sometimes 3 generations, sometimes 4. And depending on how lucky you are, whether you're right to 3 or 4 generations. And that was my father's idea. I thought was beautiful. Okay, so now verse number 18, chapter 9, verse number 18. Mark, would you like to read?
The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Japheth.
Ham being the father of Canaan. The 3 were sons of Noah, and from these the whole world was spread out.
Right, okay, right. These are the 3 people, right, that go ahead and were, right, was spread out. right? The world goes ahead. Excellent. Go ahead. Verse number 20. Now I'm gonna read. Let's just read through 20 through 28. Then we'll go back and reread it.
Just one question for
Yeah.
you. Now the sons, did they have as much as kids as I mean, did they have fast kids? Or
Okay, we'll find that all out. Hang in there.
Hang in there.
Okay, go ahead.
Noah, the man of the earth, debased himself and planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk, and he uncovered himself within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness and told his two brothers outside. And Shem, Japheth,
Yafes.
Yafes.
Just do a Y instead of a J. I don't know what it is.
Japheth took a garment, laid it upon their shoulders, and they walked backwards and covered their father's nakedness. Their faces were turned away, and they saw not their father's nakedness. Noah awoke from his wine and realized that his small son had done to him. And he said, "Cursed is Canaan, a slave of slaves shall be to his brothers." And he said, "Blessed is Hashem, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be a slave to them. May God extend Japheth, and he will dwell in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be a slave to them." Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died.
Okay, great. So we go ahead and we have a little story here, right? Just in a nutshell, right? What happened here?
He planted a vineyard.
Noah planted a vineyard.
And he harvested the grapes.
He harvested the grapes and made wine, and he got drunk, right? And then something happened. We'll talk about what exactly happened, right? And so then one of his sons cratered, right? Did not do a good job, and two of his sons did a great job. Well, one did a greater job than the other, and he blesses them. And the blessings, by the way, that he gives them, he sets the course of world history. Okay, so now we're going to get into what exactly happened and how this plays out. Okay, so verse number 20. Let's go ahead. Let's go back. Let's read verse number 20. Okay, I'll read.
Noah, the man of the earth, debased himself and planted a vineyard.
Okay, how do you debase yourself by planting a vineyard?
You've given in to your evil inclination.
And planted a vineyard? What's wrong with
Well, but it's the intent of why you planted the vineyard. You have so much desire to have wine that you do it to the exclusion of planting other,
Okay,
more appropriate.
so I'm going to
crops.
tell you what the Talmud says, and then I'm going to ask you my question.
Okay. What's the Talmud say?
No, so the Talmud says, quoted by Rashi, that what should Noach have planted? What should have been the first thing Noach planted?
farm.
Wheat.
Wheat, bread. He needed bread. You need bread to live. You don't need wine to live. Right? So that he planted wine first, planted grapes first. That's why it says he debased himself by planting wine. That's what the Talmud says.
Okay.
Ask Bentzi Epstein. Noach was righteous, wasn't he?
Right.
So why do you think he planted wine?
He couldn't stand the smell
Because
of
he
the
wanted
anymore.
to sanctify God's name
How?
by when you drink the wine.
Making kiddush. You need kiddush. You need wine
Yeah,
for Shabbat.
exactly.
But he
But
could
it
have
doesn't say
sacrificed.
anything about kosher wine.
Well, kosher wine, right? So you have to make the kosher wine. So Noach made the kosher wine, right? Because by the way, all wine generally is made just out of grapes, right? And so the issue becomes really how it's processed, whether it becomes kosher or not, right? But at the end of the day, Noach had a very good reason for planting wine, right? He needed it to make kiddush for Shabbat.
Did he also plant bread?
And he also planted, of course he planted bread. He needed to eat. The Talmud's problem is that he planted it in the wrong order,
sequence.
at the wrong sequence. But my question is, I think the sequence makes sense, because he needed wine to make kiddush.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Is it right? Isn't
You
that?
make kiddush before you make hamotzi.
When you make kiddush before you make hamotzi, so doesn't it make sense that he does it?
It does make sense.
So why is the Talmud angry at Noach? Oh, the Torah says Noach debased himself. So I'm wrong. The question is why?
Yeah, why are you wrong?
Why am I wrong? The question is a good question.
He did not necessarily debase himself by planting the vineyard. It says he debased himself and planted a vineyard. So he could have debased himself in a way other than planting the vineyard.
Okay, good. Okay, you can say that, right? You can't say that, except that putting the same verse really seems to imply
Cause and
the
effect.
cause and effect.
Okay.
So let me tell you a fascinating halacha. Tell you a fascinating law. Let's say you can only have either wine or challah for Shabbat.
Either or,
Either or, you can't have both.
you can make a kiddush on water.
You can make a kiddush on bread.
Go ahead. How do you know that? You're right.
Because I read it.
Right? Jewish law says that if you only have challah and you don't have wine, you can make kiddush on challah.
Really?
That's the halacha. Now you understand the Talmud. Now you understand the Talmud.
He didn't need.
He
wine.
didn't need wine for kiddush, because if he would have planted the bread first, he could have went ahead and he could have made kiddush on bread. But that he planted wine first, right? You see that there was an issue with that,
But it's Baway Pri Hagafen.
right? Okay,
Bread is not Hagafen.
it's okay.
It's not grapes.
Right? You don't make bar. If you're making kiddush on bread, you don't make the bar priagafan.
But you say all the rest of
You
it.
say the rest of the kiddush,
But that,
If I run into that situation, I'll know that.
right? No, it's interesting. You should know that, right? If you ever get stuck somewhere and they only have bread, they don't have you don't have grape juice, you don't have wine, you can make kiddush on bread.
but that comes from getting the commandments. How do we know he knew that commandment? He didn't know all the commandments.
Oh, who said he know all the commandments?
He knew everything.
If he studied Torah, and we know Noach studied Torah because he had kosher animals and non-kosher
Right.
animals.
It doesn't
right?
mean he knew the whole Torah.
Right. Okay, but we assume that Noach knew the whole Torah, Adam and Eve knew the whole Torah. Okay, right?
I assume
Right.
he
The
knew
assumption is that they knew it. Okay, right. But that's where that law comes in. And what's the source of that law? Probably this verse in the Torah.
But
And isn't it interesting? And then that's why you see by planting the vineyard, he should have first do
So that's why they say
He
he had a
should have
craving
planted
for
the wheat.
wine.
right.
He should have planted the
but
wheat first.
You should have planted the wheat
I have
first.
a different view.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
let's hear it.
don't forget that he had to plan a vineyard. Planning a vineyard, you need to have a base. You need to have a vineyard plant.
Yeah. Right. You have to have right
So
vines.
The first thing he did, he planted a vineyard because there was a bunch of other stuff to plant. But for the beracha of the vineyard, for the future of the world, he started with the wine. with the vineyard.
But that's not the right thing. The right thing is you first start off with the staples that you need, and then you can get to the niceties of
Well, it
life.
takes longer to grow grapes than it does to grow wheat.
Okay. So, but you need wheat first.
But
But-
the
but
Maybe
you
he
start with
figured
the
it took
grapes.
so long.
You start with the grapes because they take longer.
No. You don't start with the grapes because you could live without grapes. You can't live without bread.
But
Okay.
something I read in the Torah also that grapes, in general, grapes give you extra energy. It's very healthy fruit among all other fruits.
A lot of
It
they.
gives you a lot of power and
Yeah. Okay, but you need bread. Yeah.
Does God hate drunkenness?
Does God hate drunkenness? So I'm going to now tell you something amazing about being drunk. Let me tell you something amazing
Or
about drunk.
buzz is not the same thing, right?
Buzzed, right? Being buzzed or drunkenness. So I'm going to tell you two things. A Kohen who serves in the temple, if he's drunk wine before he serves in the temple,
Is this what?
is a terrible, terrible sin. But I'm going to tell you something even more disturbing than that. Okay? What makes us human is that we have free will. Have free will? Have free will? That's what makes us human. When we lose our free will, we are no longer human.
When you get drunk, you lose your free will.
When you're drunk, you lose your free will. When a person gets drunk, they're checking out of this world, right? They're losing their humanity. We never want to lose our humanity.
Except in a couple of holidays.
Oh, it's very fascinating. Only one holiday, and it's fascinating that we can go ahead and that we can, that one holiday, right, that we're told to drink. What are we told to drink? We're told to drink to remember, right? Meaning, right, we're remembering the miracle that was done. And I'll tell you something fascinating about drinking, right? Drinking the world is not done well with liquor, right? And yet we Jews, we give our baby from 8 days old already giving him wine.
Yeah.
And yet the level of drunkenness.
Boy babies, right?
What?
The women,
The boy babies.
yeah, only if
Yeah.
one of it.
And so, right, and yet the level of drunkenness in the Jewish people is way less than the rest of the world. And they're all around wine. We're making kiddush, right? We're giving our kid, right? Right from the beginning. Why is that? So I went to the great idea from Rabbi Noach Weinberg, blessed memory.
Yeah.
He said, some people drink to forget. You know why they want to get drunk? Because they're in so much pain, they just want to check out of the world. The world's much nicer when they don't have to think.
You don't have to remember.
We Jews, we drink to remember. Right? We're always sanctifying. Right? We're going ahead and we're sanctifying, we're elevating. We're using the wine as a way to sanctify something, to elevate it, to make it special. Wine's a special drink. Right? In fact, right, if you made a blessing on wine, and then they bring out a wine that's better than the first wine, you make the blessing of Hatova Meitiv, you get a second blessing. Wine can be used very powerfully if it's used in the positive way. If it's used in the negative way, it could be very destructive. But the bottom line is, it comes out to, we drink to remember, and we don't want to check out. All right? I have such a good time in this world. I was at a wedding yesterday. It was so fantastic. We had a great time. So we were dancing, and there was a non-Jewish guy who was dancing next to me. He says, Rabbi, this is my first Jewish wedding, but this is amazing. There was a mechitza down the middle. The ladies were dancing on one side, the guys were dancing on another side, and we were just having a blast. At the end of the wedding, and this was mostly non-religious people at this wedding, and at the end of this wedding, so we sat down to bench. We got together, and we sang the whole benching, just enjoying it. And I looked up and I saw the rest of the, and they were like almost jealous. Like, hey, what's going on here? How do I become part of that? Where can I join the club? Right? Life is too amazing. I don't want to miss a second of it. Right? And so, and if we don't feel that way, okay, if we don't feel that life is so amazing, and really I don't like life, right? Or life is, right? So then we got to fix the problem. But the drinking is not the solution. And I'll tell you something else about this losing our free will, about going ahead and about not losing our humanity. Okay, is that somebody says something to get you angry. Somebody's not nice to you. Says something not nice, right? Says something rude, or just plain not nice, right? And we kind of get angry. If you get angry, you're letting that other person steal your humanity. If you get angry, they've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. If they want to be jerks, they're jerks. They don't need you. Right? They're jerks. So they're jerks. What does it have to do with you? Don't play their game and get angry at them, because when a person gets angry, they also lose the ability to think. Right? They did a study. Driving while angry is worse than driving while drunk. You know that? Right? The impairment that is there is worse, right, than driving while drunk. Right? And so you got to make sure, you never want to lose what makes us human. right? Right? It's right. Being human is what we're all about, right? So, kind of like that sort of is, you know, if we're sad, what should we do?
Walk away.
Study Torah. It's the best drug in the world, right? Torah makes you happy, and that's why when a person's, God forbid, is in mourning, they're not allowed to study Torah, because Torah study makes you happy.
So you never got angry?
What?
You never got angry?
You know, this don't be so personal. I try not to get angry. I want you to know, whenever I get a little angry, whenever I feel like I'm getting like out of kilter, I know I need to go take a nap.
What do I have a drink?
Well,
You gotta go to the bathroom.
yeah, that's right. You guys get a little because what happens is I find that when I'm sleep deprived,
You get cranky.
I get cranky, right? It's not everybody else. I just get cranky. And in getting cranky, that's just what happens. You know, I'm going to tell you something else. A friend of mine, one of my students, so we went on the Atkins diet many years ago. And we were losing weight, we were working out. And one day he says to me, he says, you know, Rabbi, he says, my wife told me she wants the fat, happy husband she used to have. And I said to him, I said, you know, it's so funny you're saying that. I feel myself like being cranky, right? Because I'm not eating carbs. It was the weirdest thing in the world. And then I spoke to other people, and they all concurred that that's what happens. A lot of times in life, you know, we were at my Shabbat at my house. And I think one of my grandchildren, not my grandchildren, but it could have been, you know, right, was losing it at the table.
Yeah, I remember.
Now, yeah, but it wasn't my grandchild because my grandchildren are perfect.
Yeah.
But it was like you know, like
grandchild.
right, some grandchild,
Right
right?
next to him.
Yeah, somebody else's grandchild. I don't know who it was. And all I was thinking was, you know, his probably sugar level is a bit low. Get him some challah. He'll be fine. You know, it's and by the way, when you grow older, you don't necessarily grow out of that, right? So it truly is amazing that so many factors that play into this stuff. But the bottom line is, don't lose your humanity, right? Losing your humanity is the worst thing in the world that can happen to you, right? And so, right, checking out. Right, you're going to lose your humanity. Right, you're losing hours to your life. So that's my take. That's my take on that. Yeah.
Okay, the anger and upset is a part of the human nature, but I think we'll, you know, back to the Bible. The Bible personage also they got angry, but you know we don't. I think that the lesson is
Who got angry?
Moses get angry and he struck the rock.
Right, and he
Okay,
lost,
so-
and he could have gone to land of Israel because he did that.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you learn about anger?
Right. The anger is the lesson we learn from there. That's you just
Don't get angry.
Exactly.
Right, good.
You can, but don't let control you.
You know, it's very interesting. We're all here, most of us here, right, are reading the letter from the ages from Nachmanides, right? So I want to just read a few. Do you have the book there? You're gonna pass it up here for a second. I want you to, I just want you to read. I'm gonna read a few. I'm gonna read you to the first paragraph of this letter, okay? Which is the first paragraph of this letter, which is an amazing letter. But listen to this. Hear, my son, the discipline of your mother, and do not forsake the guidance of your mother. It's a verse.
Discipline of your father.
But discipline of your father, do not forsake the guidance of your mother. Accustom yourself to speak gently to all people at all times. This will protect you from anger, a most serious character flaw which causes one to sin. Our rabbis taught, whoever flares up in anger is subject to the discipline of hell. And it is written, banish anger from your heart and remove evil from your flesh. The evil mentioned here refers to hell, as written, and the wicked are destined for the day of evil. Once you have distanced yourself from anger, the quality of humility will enter your heart. This sterling quality is the finest of all admirable traits. As Scripture writes, on the heels of humility comes the awe of God. Through humility, the fear of God will intensify in your heart, for you'll always be aware of from where you have come and to where you are destined to go. You realize that in life you are as frail as the maggot or the worms, all the more so in death. It is this sense of humility which reminds you of the one before whom you will be called for judgment, the King of glory. Of him it is written, behold, heaven and the heavens of heavens cannot contain you, surely not the heart of men. Furthermore, as it is written, do I not fill heaven and earth, says Hashem? After you give serious thought to these ideas, you will stand in awe of your Creator and will be guarded against sins. Once you have acquired these fine qualities, you will indeed be happy with your lot. He goes on. Okay? So he says, what's the one trait to get rid of? Anger. He says, and what's the greatest trait to have? Humility. And if you have true humility, where will that get you? Happiness. When you realize that God runs this world, and there are no mistakes, you will stop shooting the messenger, and you will listen to the message. Stop shooting the messenger. We all laugh at the story. Right? The messenger brings the bad news to the king kills him, right? We all think this is the stupidest thing in the world. Right? Like it never made any sense to me at all. Right? But that's what we do in our lives. We're busy getting angry at the people that we perceive snubbed us or snubbed us. Or we're jerks. Or said something bad. Right? And we go ahead and we lose it for no reason.
Yeah, can I say something? Every single day, either somebody gets mad at me or shows me a finger.
Right.
I mean, there's 82 million people out there who are on Prozacs and they're all angry.
Right. Good.
How much can a person take?
Well, let me ask you a question. You have some fine doctors here that can take care of you. So let me tell you something very simple. Nobody could do anything to you unless it's the will of God.
I want to add something to this also. Every time I get something like I'm angry or something negative against myself, I actually try to repair myself. But then I question myself and say, what did I do to deserve this?
Okay.
And that's the hard part.
So why are you getting angry?
I need to get it out.
Because I don't understand why. God, please help me. So say, God, please help me understand it. Obviously, that you keep getting it all the time, every day, means you're not getting the message. Right? But that's anger. Right? Anger is misplaced. Right? Is misplaced. Right? And it's the evil inclination who's feeding you to get you angry. We're all human. Right? And sometimes we lose it.
Yes.
So what happens when we lose it?
Control.
Get it together. Pull it together. Right? So what I tell people, disengage with other people so at least you don't hurt other people. Right? Right? They say go to the bathroom, lock the door, and sit there for half an hour. Right? Go to sleep. Right? If you're cranky. Eat some food if it's because you're right. Means you have to learn what are the things that could get you there. Because we have free will. We could choose to get angry or not. And keeping control, meaning who thinks our emotions control who we are? Or who thinks we control our emotions?
We control emotions.
So the anger...
If I let you cause me to be angry, I'm surrendering.
You're surrendering control to me, right? Right, so you and certainly I'm a jerk. You don't want to do that.
Well, to Michael, if people give him a finger,
Right.
if he gets mad, they win.
Right, yeah. They're having a bad day. What does that have to do with you? Why are you letting it? Who cares? They're having a bad day. I feel bad for them. Have a good day. Right? You're following? Right? Going through and living life in such a fashion. Right? Going through and living life in such a fashion is something that is you just have to really be cognizant of and be aware of.
It's really nice to know that, Rabbi, but sometimes when things happen, the first reaction is...
No, your first, absolutely.
It's only human, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. And then you...
I want you to know, you get a free pass, almost, on that first reaction, right? Because ultimately, we want to get to a place where we even control that. And where people don't even get that rise out of us, right? They can't get to the place of, right, we're not going to let them control me. But once you get that first reaction, then comes your responsibility to control that.
In controlling that, I hold back and retreat, and I feel sort of hurt and kind of depressed or something like that because that person
doesn't think so highly of you. Good, excellent. So let me tell you two things. Number one is, who cares? If they're jerks enough to say it, and not in a nice way, well, I'm gonna be their friends anyway. I really could care less. Okay? Hitler thought I'm a bad person. I consider that a compliment. Right? I always look where the compliment's coming from. Right? Somebody who I respect, it means something to me. Somebody who I think is a jerk, they're a jerk, and we know they're jerks. That's number one. Number two, recognize that it's all coming from God. They're just messengers. So forget about them, take them out of the picture. And number three, and this third point is probably the most important point I'm about to tell you. Most important by far. And the other 2 points are important, but now I'm going to tell you something even more important. Communication is a skill that most people don't have. And I'm not only just talking, I'm talking about what?
Can you develop?
That you can develop it. But it's also listening. Learning how to listen. Right? And learning to hear what they really said. And taking it in and understanding it. Most strife in the world comes down to what? Comes down to misunderstandings. Okay, miscommunications. And it all starts from something stupid. Really. It's really right. That's really where it comes from, right? It comes it comes from something ridiculous. Right? That's where it comes from. Right? And so therefore we have to learn to kind of step back. Right? Does God love me?
Yes.
So who cares what anyone else thinks? like what everyone else makes no, never mind. Everything else is ridiculous. Right? Right? Now if God doesn't like me and everyone else loves me, who cares also? That's bad news.
But when you deal with adolescents,
Ooh, adolescents. Yeah.
you gotta keep it.
Oh my gosh, your job as a parent, listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Okay? And by the way, adolescents, used to end at 19. Now it's like by 39 or 49, they might get out of the adolescent stage. Okay, it's when kids lose their brains. And they've done studies on this, by the way. Right? The chemical balance or right, the growth that the kids have done, etc., is crazy. Right? That's what takes place. Right? And so therefore it's doubling what I'm saying. Right? And our job as parents is just to be the steady as they go.
For a teenager, the parent knows nothing. Turns 21, all of a sudden the parents start to get smart.
Right. By the time they're 30, they don't do anything without their parents. That was in the olden days. Now it's like 40 or 50. Right? Okay, right? But our job is to be the steady Eddie, steady as she goes. right. That's really right. That's our job, right? That's our job on what we need to do, right? It's to be that steady as they go.
So it's not genes or whatever, tempered, and that goes back. Or isn't it? It could be that third, fourth generation stuff.
Yeah, no. I'm just telling you. Certainly, when it comes to adolescence, that's clearly what our job is, right? And don't they know every button? The kids know every button to push, and that's okay, right? You just have to cut the switch between that button and our brains, right? And just ignore it, right? It has nothing to do with us, right? And so really, it's you have to have very selective hearing. That's why God made hearing aid batteries. Just take it out, right? It's right, like it's that's our job, right? Don't let him push our buttons. It's irrelevant to us. Okay, let's go back to Noach. Noach makes a mistake. What's his mistake? Plants a vineyard. Now, by the way, Noach had a good reason for planting a vineyard.
That's what I was gonna say.
Why?
Okay, you planting a vineyard.
Yeah.
God, was not a bad thing at all. If you look at the text.
The Torah says it is.
Where?
He debased himself by planting a vineyard.
So the vineyard of God, before that God say, when you drink your new wine, when you so how the new wine will appear if someone didn't plant the vineyard?
No, it wasn't.
With planting the vineyard, you just got to do it in the right sequence.
You got a sequence. Plant bread first. Make sure you have enough to sustain yourself. Before you go ahead and do these other things, make sure that you go ahead and you get rid of that stuff.
But it wasn't.
What is the Hebrew word really say about that? Can we?
Vayochel Noach, right? He made chulin, right? They call him right? Debased himself, made himself unholy, right? Goes ahead and turns himself, right? It goes ahead and right and turns himself into just something not good, right? Like that's what it is, right?
But it's bad that he debases himself. Sounds like he got drunk, but
He did.
He could have, and he did, and that's history, and that's the way it was. But he could have just made the wine and then.
And by the way,
get drunk.
Noach had a good. He didn't. I don't believe Noach planned to get drunk. He just wanted to take a shot, to take the edge off.
The figure, the 40.
For good reason.
Right.
For good reason. What was the good reason?
We get out
Celebrate
from
being
the-
on land.
Yeah, get out of that boat.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Try to put yourself in Noach's shoes. Noach left a world that was a thriving metropolis. And when Noach walked out,
It was barren.
there was nothing. Zero. Could you imagine what it must have felt like to Noach?
Yeah.
He said, just give me a shot. No. That's what he said. He went to the liquor cabinet.
Where it takes 3 years to grow wine.
No, well, first of all, it could be he came with plants. He already had vines that he took with him, right? Remember, he brought seeds with him to replant everything. And then again, however long it took, right? And what happened was he drank the normal amount that he would have drunk before he got on the ark. But since in the last year he didn't have a drink, he wasn't used to it. Right? And you find that also in the Torah later on with Joseph and his brothers. And that they hadn't drunk in 22 years.
Yeah. That's
And you find the same thing.
right.
Right? But the issue was you have to first take care, get your bread. Right? Right? Get and Noach it was tough. It was imagine walking out in a world where there's nothing. And there used to be everything. Right, you run next door to your neighbor's house, as bad as they are, they're not there. You walk out and the earth is quiet. There's nothing going on. And you keep on trying to see, is there anybody else? And what do you find?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
So things became so difficult for him that he eventually broke.
No, he didn't. I mean, he didn't break. I mean, getting drunk one night is not breaking. You know what I'm saying? Right, but it's and again, not even trying to, just drinking, right?
But
Just
for him, it was a break.
it was a mistake.
He was a holy man.
It was a mistake,
Also, Rabbi,
and that's why the Torah calls him out on it.
He's the first drunk in the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, also, Rabbi, what I was thinking about, remember when Jacob wrestled with God, and then he said, he fell
With Esau's angel. Go ahead.
fell God of his hands, and he put a stone in. What he did, he put a wine, the Torah says he put the wine and the oil, wine first and oil, and to build the altar there. So why wine? So I think...
Say the story.
Okay, Jacob. When he has a dream or he wrestles with...
when he wrestles with Esau's angel.
Right? And then what he did, he put a stone, and he said he felt God's presence there.
Right.
And he put a wine, the Torah says he put a
wine. He put oil to...
Oil and wine there on the stone. Is that what it said? Wine was there, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You want to show it to me?
Yeah.
No, show it to me.
You're the rabbi, come on.
You're talking about when he had the dream or when he wrestled with the angel? There are two places.
It was a dream, yeah, that was a dream.
Okay, it's Parshas Vayetze. Okay, right, to turn to Parshas Vayetze. Okay, right, it's page 147.
Okay, yeah,
right, chapter 28. Right. Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he placed around his head and set it up as a pillar, and he poured oil on its top. And he named that place Bethel. However, Luz was the city's name originally. Okay, it says oil of mine, my friend.
Just the oil.
Just oil.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Alrighty. Good try. Okay. Okay. Right? So they poured oil. Okay, good. So let's go on. I wanted this is like amazing things. Just hang in there. So Noach goes ahead and Noach gets drunk. And while he is drunk.
Why he got drunk?
Why did he get drunk? Well, because he hadn't drank. He hadn't drank in a year, and so he miscalculated how much wine, and he got drunk. Okay, and so go ahead.
He drank of the wine and became drunk, and he uncovered himself within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's...
Okay, stop. Okay, right, and he uncovered himself within his tent. Okay, Ham,
the father of Canaan,
right,
saw his father's nakedness and told his two brothers outside.
Okay, stop here.
Are we on number 6 right now?
We're on verse number 40, bottom 43 and 45. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw. What does that mean? He saw.
He witnessed.
Are you allowed to see your father naked?
No.
No. By the way, very important, right? On Erev Yom Kippur, day before Yom Kippur, right? All Jewish males go to the mikvah, the one time a year when Jewish males go to the mikvah. Make sure you do not go with your son at the same time, right? Because that's inappropriate for a child to see their father naked.
Because when you see your father's nakedness, you lose respect for him.
And it's not proper.
And God said not to do it.
Right. But just seeing that would not cause the following curse. The Talmud has two opinions on what happened over here. Number one is he went ahead and he castrated Noach.
What?
He castrated his father.
He gave him a vasectomy.
Vasectomy.
Made he can no longer have any children.
Ooh.
The second opinion is no, and doctor, that's right your line of business. Okay. Number two, he's a urologist. Okay. Number two, the other opinion is no, he sodomized him.
Aye.
Hey.
He
What-
screwed his father.
too.
Ham sodomized his father Noach.
He
Oh,
had
that's
sex with his
wild
father.
stuff. Where in the world?
Where did you get that?
It's in the Talmud,
It's
right?
in, what are you talking about? Same place you get everything. Why would Chum do such a thing?
That's a big question.
Ooh.
Besides, but before you continue,
Yeah.
everything is upside down here already.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of planting a bread, instead of
Planting
planting wheat,
bread, right.
he planted grapes.
Grapes, right?
And then he also made himself a tent.
Right.
And then he got naked, he got drunk, and
Right.
he got screwed by his own son.
You get right.
People thought we're coming to a good world.
It's
The
fast.
saints.
You know, the Torah is the good, the bad, and the ugly. God just telling you the way it was, my friends. And there are lessons here. Lots of lessons.
Explain the two diverse opinions.
Two diverse opinions. Well, first of all, why would Ham do this? And what is Canaan? Who cares that he's a
Ham
father,
was-
Canaan?
Ham was
Ham had a wife?
jealous of his father maybe having more children. And he'd have to share the world with more children.
Oh, very good. Ham goes ahead and Ham says, if my father procreates, what will happen? Instead of me getting a third of the world, I'll get much less. And so what happened is this is the first place in the Torah where kids fight over inheritance. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of fun stuff. I'm going to give a class on how to do inheritance. Because if you want your kids to never talk to each other, that's the best way to do it. That's right. That's right. I can't. Man, how many people
Follow the rules of the Torah. that
Right,
they can't
right.
argue.
It's amazing, right? How to mess up your kids and mess up your family.
And it doesn't have to be young kids. It could be old
Oh,
kids.
usually it's the old kids, right? And they usually fight about all this nonsense,
And sometimes
right? And so it's
petty.
just amazing. I could tell you some stories that will make you hair stand up.
A great story.
Crazy stories. Crazy stories. And so here the Torah says, well, guess what? Ain't nothing new under the sun. What was Ham worried about? Losing a third of the world, right? Losing a piece of the world. He now owned a third of the world. So it goes to make sure his father can't have any more children.
I believe that's what really happened.
Rabbi, I'm having a little difficulty with this, in the sense that these three boys were worthy enough to be on the ark and saved from the flood. And now they get out of the ark and immediately one of them is bad.
Well, he was bad on the ark as well.
Yeah, he had sex on
So
the
how did he get onto the ark in the first place?
So, right, but that's why Noach didn't start having children, right, till less than 120 years old, because that way, then, according to the laws of heaven, they wouldn't be held responsible for in those days. That's when it was, and therefore, they would make it onto the ark. And the second thing is, not necessarily because they're bad now, they're evil now, doesn't mean that they always were evil, right? And again, having sex on the ark, I would say, is a lesser evil than going ahead and castrating your father.
How did he know to do vasectomy in those days?
Right?
Did they know how to do
No, they did. Yeah, sure. So that's that. They knew that actually sodomy usually causes infertility, and that's really what it
Sodomy
could.
causes infertility?
Yeah,
Rabbi, there's a midrash, right?
the Talmud. Yeah.
Yeah, the Talmud is good in the midrash. It could be, it could not be right. That's the midrash. That's the way of thinking.
So, Rabbi, you say homosexual.
If I'm telling it to you,
Right.
what does that mean?
What do you mean?
It means it's there.
It means it happened.
Yeah.
No one.
So, Rabbi,
No one wrote that.
No. Very good. So if I'm telling you it happened, it happened. Okay, there we go. Excellent.
All right.
Good. Okay. And if it's not meant to be taken literally, I'll tell you that too.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Rabbi,
Excellent.
Rabbi,
Yes.
are you saying that homosexual men can never have children?
Now, I don't know the details today. I don't know that stuff. I'm telling you in general. Right, the whole Tractate of Odazara
Yeah.
talks about the use of bestiality, and that also causes infertility. There's some very interesting just interesting. All I'm saying is, but at the end of the day, Ham did not want his father having more children because he didn't want to share the inheritance. Fighting over inheritance is one of the most beautiful things families can do.
And to avoid it, you do what?
To avoid, what do you avoid it? So don't have any money, then you don't have to worry about it. That's the easiest way to avoid the problem. Right? Okay, right? So people who are poor, just be happy, right? There's nothing to fight about. It's wonderful, terrific. Number two, I'll tell you really how to do it. The real way to do it is to have all your children know very clearly what you want done.
Right.
And it's your decision, and you're giving it out. The challenge is that obviously, is that as parents get older and then there's dementia, and then it becomes a problem of, who's taking care of them and who's really talking to them and who's convincing them of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, right? All the other reasons, etc. And everyone who thinks anything else. And the third thing, right? And so it's not so simple, but it's also very important for children to understand that their parents' money is their parents. It's not their money. And their parents have the right to do with it whatever they want. So never count the chickens before they die. Right? And to understand it's your parents' money. It's your parents' money. They can do with it what they want. And it's their prerogative. And make sure that you're not going to be the cause of that fight. Right? Right? So there's a lot of things to be said about it, but that really is just a lot of things. Yeah.
I think the problem that I've seen with inheritance is that the children that don't get what they think they're supposed to get equate that with love.
Right.
She didn't love me that
much. Right. They become.
She loved you more than me.
It's amazing. I've seen all socioeconomical classes, really, truly. And I've seen places where there's one sibling that doesn't have money. The other siblings have more money they know what to do with. And the siblings that have more money to do with go out of their way to make sure someone having money doesn't get any money. Do you know how wicked that is? Do you really understand how terrible that is?
So they give it to the dogs.
Right? It's just incredible. Truly incredible. It's something. It's so sad.
Yeah,
it really is sad. But that's a whole other story. That's not for now. I'm just saying that's just a little piece that happened. Ham goes ahead and makes sure his father can't have any children. Why can't he have any children? Because he doesn't want to share the world. He's got 3. Why does it say that Ham, the father of Canaan? Because how did Ham know that his father was drunk and naked in his tent? Because Canaan walked into the tent and he saw what's going on, and so he came out and he went and he told his father. Right? That's right.
How that happened?
That's how that happened. Okay. Excellent.
That's why Canaan is not a good guy.
That's why Canaan gets a special mention, which is quite fascinating. Because where do we find Canaan or Canaan?
The Canaanites.
The Canaanites.
Yeah.
Or more importantly than the Canaanites, what's really important about Canaan?
The land.
The land of Canaan.
The land, you know what the land of Canaan is, don't you folks?
Israel.
It's Israel. Very fascinating.
So did he force himself on the father?
Yes.
Finish connecting those two, please.
The land of Israel is called the land of Canaan.
Right.
Eretz Canaan. In the Torah, it's called Eretz Canaan straight through. Right? And yet, we call the land of Israel, Eretz Yisrael. So why does the Torah, how could the Torah go ahead? Right? How could the Torah go ahead? And why did the Torah call it the land of Canaan? Why doesn't the Torah refer to it as land of Israel?
Because the Canaanites were there first.
The Canaanites, okay, so what? We're on page 45. Right. So what, the Canaanites were there first?
Because we had to have somebody to conquer.
Why did we have somebody conquer?
Because that's the way God set it up. He set it up so we could conquer the Canaanites over a period of years, and that would marry us to the land.
Why couldn't he just give it to us?
He did.
He did. He put the Canaanites there to keep it for us, and then we were supposed to get it when we were supposed to get it.
Yeah.
And the Canaanites, if they would have been righteous, would have been allowed to stay.
Yeah,
right? They weren't righteous. Right? So they had 3 choices. They could either leave and God would resettle them in a nice place. They could either agree to live righteously, or they could stay and fight and die.
They were enemy of God.
No, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you why the Torah calls it the land of Canaan. The Torah refers to the land of Israel as the land of Canaan. Do you know what the word Canaan, the root of that word, comes from?
Sounds like Cain or something like that.
No, it's a chaf. Canaan is right, a chaf. Canaan. So the root of that word is hachna'ah. Okay.
Not to buy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What does that mean?
Surrendering.
Humility.
Yeah.
The land of Israel is called the land of humility.
Why?
The word Canaan comes from the word hachna'ah, which means humility. Hachna'ah, right? Humility. When you're humble, when you're humility, at that point in time, right? When you're humility, at that point in time, then you can go and you could live in the land of Israel. God calls it the land of Canaan to teach us that you want to know how to acquire the land of Israel? Through humility. Right? And again, as Nachmanides says in his letter, right, is that if you're humility, so then at that point in time, right, you could go ahead and you could stay there. You can make it there. Right? And humility is the most important of all character traits. Okay, Canaan goes ahead and he goes and he sodomizes, or he goes ahead and he castrates his father, says father can't have any more children because he doesn't want to share the world. And then, verse 23. Go ahead.
And Shem and Japheth
Right.
took a garment, laid it upon their shoulders, and they walked backwards and covered their father's nakedness. Their faces were turned away, and they saw not their father's naked.
Okay, so what happens here?
They covered them up.
Noah's other two sons, what did they do?
They did the right thing.
Did the right thing. Right? What did they do?
Covered his
They took a garment, each carrying it. They walked backwards so they wouldn't see their father. They laid the garment down and covered their father.
Where did they get the garment from?
The garments, they had clothing with them.
They used to wear blankets.
Now,
Basically.
well, they have garments. They had garments, they had blankets. So now, fascinating. Whose idea was it, by the way?
To do that,
Yes.
Shem's.
No, we don't know.
You don't know. We do know.
Not Shem. In a second you will know.
Do the first one know that he's not allowed to see his father nicknames?
Right. So they knew that, right? They knew that, right? So what did they do?
They walked backwards.
They walked backwards. So who walked backwards?
Both of them.
Shem and Japheth.
Right.
But Shem initiated.
Now, who's the oldest one? Shem?
Okay, let's say Shem was the oldest.
And Ham is what?
It's a question. It's a question. The middle, youngest.
He's the youngest.
It's a question, right? Because I have to see.
It's Shem's idea.
Shem hungry.
Well, maybe it was Shem and Japheth's idea.
At the same time,
Yeah, maybe it was both their ideas.
more likely to be Shem's idea.
So I want to tell you something fascinating. So the first question you have to look at is you have to take a look at who does the Torah mention first.
Shem.
Shem.
But if Shem is the older child, then if they both ideas, who would it mention?
Japheth.
It would mention Shem first. So therefore, it's not a proof.
I see.
Okay, right?
It's not a proof that he thought of it.
That he thought of it.
Because it could have been just mentioning him first because
Right.
he's older than Japheth.
Right.
But it's the translation that counts.
Okay, so now I would tell you in the Hebrew it's very clear. I mean, it's very clear. It's cute. It's very clear. So for all our Hebrew readers, right? Chapter 9, verse number 23 will tell you the answer.
23.
Yeah.
That's Gimel, right? Kaf Gimel.
That's Chaf Gimel, right? The top, right? The top, right? The top of, right? The top of
A44.
44.
Well, it's the tense of the verb that counts.
I'm not expecting to know.
Oh, good.
But the two people behind you are Hebrew speakers. So I'm waiting for them to find out the answer.
What's the question?
It's a
Ha-
plural subject, but a singular verb.
Oh, very good. Excellent. So if you take a look in verse 44, the question was, how does the Torah know? Right? Right? How do we know? Not Frankie, but how do we know that it was Shem's idea and not both their ideas?
Because it says Shem and Yafet, but the verb was took.
Because it says
Singular verb.
Vayikach. What does it mean, Vayikach? Singular.
You can't tell that from English.
Right, from English
Because
you
it's the
can't
same.
tell it. That's why in English I'm not expecting from the English.
What is,
But
what is the top? Some sign on the top of Baikach.
oh no, that's just the trup. That's how it's read. Vayikach. Shem vayefes esasim lo. Vayisimu Hashem shneim. Vayilchu
That's
achareim.
without my question. Okay.
Okay,
What is
so
Vayikach?
and he took.
And he.
He took.
Not
How do
they
you
took.
say and they took? Vayikchu. So if it was both their ideas, what should have said it in the Hebrew? Vayikchu, and they took. It doesn't say and they took. It says and he took. Shem v'yefes. So we see that only one of them took.
And
What?
And the other one joined.
The other one joined him. But whose idea was it?
Shem.
Shem. It was the first. The idea was only one of their ideas. Now we take a look who says it first. So Shem's name is mentioned first. So we know that it was Shem and not Japheth.
Shem who took it, and the other one joined.
Japheth joined along.
Yeah, because then it says Vayasimu al Shem.
Right.
I was
And then
right.
it switches. Right, very good. Because then when it says that, and they put it on their shoulders, it switches then to plural
Because they had to do it.
because they had to do it together. Right? Isn't that amazing? Oh, so good. Right? Do you see that? Every letter in the Torah is like perfect.
Yeah, but Frankie is not convincing.
What did wrong over here?
You know what? I told you that just makes me right.
What Ham did wrong over here? The scriptures say, and the father drunk, and he uncovered himself, and within his tent. Ham now, the father of the Canaan, that's a qualification, saw his father nakedness and told his two brothers outside.
My meaning, he told, "Hey guys, I did just a great thing. I just made it that we're each going to be gazillionaires and not just billionaires because there's only three of us. We split the world three ways. Life is good."
So he bragged to his
He bragged to his two brothers, expecting them to give him kudos.
Now he was the youngest one.
There was
because-
no mockery or any, the test didn't reflect his action as a, mockery or happy that I saw my father nakedness. And no, he said that scripture said he went and told the brother. I think he did the right thing. That said, "Oh, I saw father." He said, "Father, he will."
Right, and he telling them what he did because he wants them to tell him thank you.
Yeah, they didn't say thank
And they didn't say thank you. They went ahead.
I can prove that he's the youngest one
Ow.
because Hashem is older than Japheth, and it says here his small son.
No.
Well, it's interesting.
No, small. That's
Small
the first
does not
stature.
mean
It meant
right.
he was unfit.
Small does not mean youngest. Small means small.
He was unfit.
Right, he was right. He did something that was inappropriate, quite
So
inappropriate.
I don't have a proof then.
Right. So it goes like this. Okay, good. Verse number 24. Okay, go ahead.
Now woke from his wine and realized that what his small son had done to him.
Right, it's terrible what had happened. Right, he realized what had happened.
And he
Now he's going to go ahead in these next three verses. Right in chapter 9, verse 25, 26, and 27, set the course of history for all future generations. Okay, now listen to this carefully. Before we do that, just one quickly thing. You know what Shem got rewarded because it was his idea to cover his father?
Well, he's our progenitor.
Right, we're descendants of Shem.
Yeah.
So what did we get? We got the mitzvah of tzitzis.
Because of this.
Mitzvah of tzitzis, right?
Because
Four-corner garment you have to put on tzitzis.
Yeah.
We got that as a reward
For Shem.
for Shem's actions.
To
We
remind-
got another mitzvah.
to remind
Does it
us
say that
what-
here or
Talmud.
okay?
So they took this four-cornered garment.
They took the
Says
four-cornered-
all the garments were
Right,
four-cornered
but
in those
they took
days.
it. Right, they took the garment and they covered him, and therefore we, his great grandchildren,
Yeah.
went ahead and we got rewarded
With
that we got
tzitzis.
the mitzvah of tzitzis.
Okay, what did
Every time you put on tzitzis,
You're supposed to remember this.
what are you supposed to remember?
613.
600 read tzitzis. I read the 613 commandments, right? But also remember the dignity. We got this. We got this.
Because
Right.
Hashem-
We got because shame the dignity of making sure that the father was properly clothed.
right? But is it the 600 commandment? Does there is a one who states that you should not see your father nakedness in those?
Yeah.
It is there.
What?
So what does tzitzit represent?
Tzitzis, remember, tzitzis represent, the word tzitzis is numerical value is 600,
Uh-huh.
8 strings and 5 knots
Okay.
brings up to 613.
Okay.
Mind you, the 613 commandments. So whichever
Okay,
way we turn, we're supposed to remember the 613 commandments.
So in the 613 commandment, do we have any commandment that say you should not, the son should not see the nakedness of
Yeah,
his
sure.
father?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But in general, we had tzitzis. It's a reminder that the source of this mitzvah comes back to Shem coming over here and covering up, right, taking care of his
Next
father.
time they do it, Rabbi, that's all.
Okay, tomorrow morning, you think about it. Mitzvah tzitz is only during the day, not during the night. Right? You know why it's only the mitzvah during the day?
Because you're supposed to be able to see it.
Because it says you shall see them, you should remember the commandments of God. When's the time of seeing?
During the day.
During the day. So they
They
went
don't
in the
need
day.
electric lights.
Okay, excellent. Now,
What is it? Why it mention Asar Bino Katan? Why?
because now it's setting up for verses 25, 26, 27.
Right.
World history is about to be set by Noah.
And
World
he
history.
said,
So let's go through this. Noah had how many sons?
3.
3 sons. Canaan or Chum, Shem, and Yefes. Let me explain to you what each one represents.
Okay.
Yefes. What does Yefes mean?
Come on, Hebrew people.
Beauty.
Beauty. Yaft Elohim li Yefes. Right? That's right. God should give beauty.
That's my
So
nephew.
beauty is Western. Beauty is right. Yefes is Greek, right? Beauty, Greek art, right. Architect. We had a Greek architect. It stands for the beauty, the physical beauty that lives in this world. Okay.
Like example.
Example: beautiful architect, beautiful flowers, paintings, music. And then all these things that are beautiful. Okay, God gave it to us, right? The beautiful things. You could do a lot of beautiful things with them.
So Yefes,
Yefes is beauty, and in fact, the Talmud learns out from this verse that God gave beauty to Yefes, to beauty, right? Which is Yefes is Greek. That what language you have to write a Sefer Torah in?
Aramaic.
Hebrew. No, Hebrew. Talmud's written in Aramaic. The Torah is written in Hebrew, not modern Hebrew. It's written in biblical Hebrew. Okay, that's where the Torah is written in.
there's no English words in it.
Biblical Hebrew. Okay? Are you allowed to write the Torah in any other language?
No.
The answer is no, except one exception. What's the exception?
It was written.
What?
It was written.
Well, again, this week's Torah portion, God tells Moshe to write it down in 70 languages. But that's on the rocks. But a Sefer Torah scroll, right, that we have.
Yeah, so
Could it be written in any other language?
No.
So the Talmud says that it can be written using Greek letters. Why? Can. It can be written in Greek. Why? Because of this verse, Yaft Elokim liyafes, that God has given beauty to Greeks.
But the numerical values aren't there if they write it in Greek.
Correct.
So it loses a lot of the meaning.
So my understanding is that it could be phonetically spelled out using Greek letters. Okay, that's
Greece is a Western country.
right. That's what it is. Okay. So now like this. So now you go ahead and you have Yefes is beauty. What is shame?
Divine.
Shame is divine. Shame is name, right? Sham there. It's right. It's religion. Judaism. What is cham?
Here in Texas, wedding.
Cham is heat.
Heat.
What is heat? Heat is technology. Okay? Now, cham is technology. Technology is all about heat, right? In order to change anything, you need heat.
Yeah.
Right? That's why in Shabbat, what's the one thing in the Torah that says you can't do in Shabbat?
Can't light
You can't light a fire. Because what is fire? Fire is an agent of change. Right? In order to change statuses, you need to go ahead and you need to use heat. Okay? So
You
heat.
have to give up technology and Shabbat.
Right. So now listen to what God says. Cursed is Canaan. A slave of slaves shall he be to his brothers. Cham will be slaves to Shem and Yefes. And he says, blessed is Hashem, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be a slave to them. May God extend Yefes, but he will dwell in the tents of Shem. May Canaan be a slave to them. If Yefes, if beauty is willing to dwell in the tents of religion, if beauty is willing to be subservient to religion, then Canaan, then Cham, then technology will stay subservient to both. You got it? Okay, as long as beauty is willing to say, I'm willing to abide by the rules of morality that God has put in this world, then technology will be used for benefit.
And otherwise technology be used for evil?
Very good. Otherwise, if Yefes, if beauty thinks it's more important than religion, then at that point in time, technology will be unleashed and will destroy the world.
Can you give me a modern day
Is that what's
example,
happening
Rabbi?
now?
So I'll give you a modern day example. I'll give you a very simple modern day example. You go ahead, beauty, architectural beauty, could be used to build a beautiful study hall for God. Or it could be used to build not such good places.
A bridge.
No, bridges are part of. Right? It could be used to build a brothel.
Oh, really?
Music could take us and elevate us and can make us holy people.
Yeah.
On the other hand, music could go
Right.
and could be used to turn us into animals. Right? If you ever could listen or hear the words that they say in some of these songs,
Oh my God.
you blush.
Right.
Right? Terrible. It was so funny. I was at a wedding.
I don't consider that music.
I was at a wedding last night, and so, so the DJ kept them bouncing back and forth between Jewish music and not Jewish music. And every time we go to something not Jewish music, I couldn't understand the words. And everyone's around there singing the words, and I'm going like, what are you hearing that I'm not? Right? But the idea is that music and beauty has the ability to be used in this service of God, or has the ability to be used to deny God.
So rap denies God.
Again, it depends unless you make it Jewish rap.
They were doing Jewish rap?
Yeah.
Rub-a-dub-a-dub. Right. Thanks for the grub. Yay, God. A nice little rap there. Right. Okay. Right. So, but to go ahead, right. If it's right again, you have to look at God says, right. Noach's laying out world history. As long as beauty recognizes its place in this world, that God put beauty in this world. I'll give you another example. How beauty are human beings? How beautiful are human beings?
We are beautiful.
You know, what? Not the male species, the female species. Right? God made them beautiful. So they could use that beauty for good. They could use that beauty for bad. Right? They could, right? And it's all channeling. It's all using. Yaft Elokim Yefes. Okay? There's a lot of beauty that exists in this world. It has to be used the right way. So God says, as long as beauty is used in the right way and dwells in the tent of shame, as long as it goes ahead and is and it is used, right, to go ahead and to be subservient to religion, at that point in time, then technology sticks around and is used in a helpful, in a building manner. When beauty thinks it's more important than religion, so then at that point in time, right, technology gets unleashed and will destroy the world.
So in that case, the robots will rule us instead of us ruling the robots.
Right.
There's a big science fiction story about that.
Yeah, and it's not so science fiction anymore.
Yeah.
AI, it's kind of pretty impressive, right? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I found out something.
I mean, and I just want to let you know, just it's interesting. Somebody asked me this question. I said it's amazing, right? So, right, people are communicating with robots thinking they're humans. Right, that whole female bot, right? It's an amazing thing. Right. It's an amazing thing, and you know what somebody said to me. It's amazing, saying that at the end of the day, it's going to show you that there really is nothing to you. The only thing that is to you is the awe of God. Is your choice of making the right decisions. Right? That's what it's showing you, that there's nothing to anything. Right? We do hip replacements. We put in a little titanium. Right? We do shoulder replacements. Right? I mean, really everything. We do heart replacements. It's amazing stuff. Right? Man, we could turn ourselves all into plastic and metal and just leave our hearts beating and hope that our soul sticks around.
Yeah, and then
right?
transfer your brain into that animal.
Right? It's just an amazing thing. Right? And how the world goes.
So, Rabbi,
right?
I discovered something today about AI.
Yeah.
So, they got bookkeeping now, it's artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So if you record something one way, a month or two from now, they see the same transaction, they'll record it the same way.
Right.
But sometimes it records it the same way and it's wrong. And it takes a human being to realize that it's wrong.
Right. But that's because they're only at the beginning of it. Mind you, they're going to get to a place, because any thought process that you go through, they could teach the computer to go through that thought process.
You don't have to go far for that. All you have to do is look at a word processor that has a spell correction.
Right. Spell check. Right? I mean, it's amazing what they're doing. Anything that can be broken down into a process, right, can be teachable to a computer. At the end of the day, what's going to make you human, right, is the choices that you're going to make. Right? That's what makes you human.
So that's the principle of the quantum computer, because it has a yes and a no and a maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what human beings do.
Right? I'm telling you. It's anything that's quantifiable, anything you can break down, that's exactly what's going to happen.
But the problem is not everything is quantifiable.
Oh. No, but even in place where you have to make a decision, right?
Well, it's a yes or you make a decision, but it's still there's still things you can't quantify.
And it says it's just amazing because they could high speed everything, just making quick decisions because we know what everyone's decisions are making. Yafta Lukim Liyefes. This is so important. This is how the world is structured. Beauty is around in the world to be subservient to religion. Right? It means that people have to understand that it's about having the proper religion, having set up in the right way. As long as it dwells in the tent of shame, as long as it's subservient. But otherwise technology gets unleashed and could destroy the entire world. And that's what Noah says.
Only God that will destroy the world. He promised not to do it, but we can do it.
Well, we can do it, right? And at the end of the day, remember, 99% of the world is still not 100% of the world,
Yeah.
right? So we could destroy it.
We could destroy 99%.
What?
Do a little section.
Yeah, we do it pieces at a time. Right? Is that we go ahead and right, but that's this whole idea over here. Right? Yaftal Kim Yefes, right? God goes ahead and is right. It's all about being right. It's all about beauty, right? Being there.
So this whole chapter is about urology.
Right? It's I expect the urologist to say that, not the accountant. Okay, right? So that's what Noach goes ahead. And that ends up world history. Okay? So go ahead, verse number 28.
Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died.
Right? He lives after the flood 350 years, right? And Noach was 950 years old, and he died. Anyone remember when Noach was born?
1056.
1056. Excellent. And if you ever forget that, you can actually turn the page or two. It should be written there.
1056.
It's on 45 at the bottom.
That's on there's a chart. In page 53, there's a chart of everybody. Yeah, but Noach, right, so if you ever forget, just look on page 53 in your stone chumash, right, and it goes ahead and it says, right, Noach, 1056 to 2006. Right, just interesting for you to note, when was Abraham born?
28 years earlier. Then, Noah died when Abraham was 48, right?
No. Noach, Abraham, right? Noach was born, right? Noah.
58.
Noah.
58.
Abraham was born in the year 1948.
He was born 50. Noah was 58.
Abraham was 58 when Noah
Noah
dies.
died, not 48.
Right, so he lives right. So him and Abraham overlap quite a bit, and they're both around during the Tower of Babel.
Well, wait a second. Noah and Adam.
Yeah.
Abraham.
Yeah.
So Abraham was a contemporary with Noah.
He was 58 years, sure.
58 years after Noah died.
No, Abraham was 58 when Noah died.
Noah died when Abraham was 58 years old.
Wow.
That's kind of quite fascinating. Okay, so let's just quickly let's go through quickly chapter 10, then we'll stop, and then we can then get to chapter 11. Okay, chapter 10, verse number 1. Peter, you want to read?
These are the descendants of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yavan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Yavan, Elisha, and Tarshish, the Kittim, and the Dodanim. From these, the islands of the nations were separated in their lands, each according to its language, by their families in their nations.
Okay, top page 47, chapter 10, verse number 6. Go ahead.
Well, before you go on,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question, because at this point, didn't they all have one language?
Yes, at this point there was one language. Excellent.
Which is?
Hebrew. Lashon HaKodesh, right? The holy tongue. Right, so when did languages come about?
After the Tower of Babel.
Tower, which is chapter 11. So the Torah here, just going quickly, running through, right? Just kind of just going through, right? The Noah's descendants, and how we got to the 70 nations. Then it's going to go to chapter 11, where it's going to talk about why that happened. Okay, go ahead.
The sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabtika. The sons of Raamah, Sheba, and Dedan.
Okay.
And Cush begot Nimrod. He was the first to be a mighty man on earth. He was a mighty hunter before Hashem. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Hashem. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From that land, Ashur went forth and built Nineveh and Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city.
So Nimrod, actually quite fascinating. Nimrod, right? Nimrod was the first man to rule the world. Interesting, Nimrod was black.
How do you know he's black?
How do we know black? Because he was he was descendant. He was a descendant. He was descendant of Cush.
So how do you know Cush was black?
Because what does the word Cush mean?
Black.
Black.
Is that really?
And really. And why was Cush black?
I don't know.
C-U-S-H?
C-U-S-H. Cush was black because
He's
because on the ark, Ham had relations with his wife, and the punishment was they had Cush.
The punishment was they had a black baby?
Yes,
This is a punishment?
that was. It was a mark. It was a mark on the parents that the parents did something wrong.
Oh, I see.
Cush did nothing wrong, right? And that's not an issue, right? Cush did nothing wrong, just like
So there's nothing
we're
wrong with
descendants
being-
of
nothing wrong with
Canaan.
being black, right?
What?
Nothing wrong with being black.
Absolutely
No,
not.
of course not. Come
I
on.
got friends.
You have a your roses and
And the right-
dark and
The answer is of course not. And nothing that they did.
Yeah.
Right. So that's right. That's just where it came from. But that's interesting. But the first man to rule the world was Nimrod. Was a black man. But it's fascinating. But he ruled the world in a bad way.
Oh no.
How did he rule the world?
He wanted to be like God.
What?
He wanted to be a tower so he could be like God.
He wanted.
He wanted to
Nimrod.
be God.
Right. Do you know what the word Nimrod means?
No.
Mered.
What?
The word Nimrod comes from the word mered, which is rebellion. Right. It was right. It's mered, to rebel.
Mary.
Marade, right? It's rebellion, right? It goes ahead, right? He was rebelling against the world.
I thought Moray is teach to teach.
No, Moreh. This is Marad. Marad. We're actually going to say it a lot over Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Right? It's about rebellion. Right? Okay, it's about the idea of rebelling. Okay.
All right, I get it.
Okay, good. So verse number 13. You did a great job. I'm going to let you continue reading. You're doing an amazing job,
He really
Peter.
does an amazing job. Nobody else can read it like
Yeah.
I almost want to do South Africa.
Yeah, I know, me too.
I don't know what I'm
Yeah, I can't read it. If I read it in Hebrew, I'm okay.
It's almost as though he speaks the language.
Okay.
Oh!
Okay, go ahead.
And Mizraim begot Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Patrusim, and Kalsluhim, whence the Philistines came forth, and Kaphtorim.
Okay.
Canaan begot Zidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorite, the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Arkite, and the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. Afterward, the families of the Canaanites branched out, and the Canaanite boundary extended from Zidon going toward Gerar, as far as Gaza, going towards Sodom, Gomorrah, Atma, and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These are the descendants of Ham, by their families, by their languages, in their lands, and in their nations.
Mine, okay, right? Okay, all those areas. Go ahead. Verse number 21.
And to Shem, also to him were born, he was the ancestor of all those who lived on the other side, the brother of Japheth, the elder, the sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber. And to Eber were born two sons. The name of the first was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and the name of his brother was Yoktan. Yoktan begot Almodad, Shelef, Hazar Marbech, Yera, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Avila, and Yobal.
Just by the way, it's interesting. Two points over here I want to point out. So Rashi actually points out that Yefes was older than Shem. Okay? Right? Yefes was older than Shem. So really it was right Yefes, Shem, and Cham. And Cham was the youngest. And also he also points out that it says the brother of Yefes, right, in verse 21, right, the brother Yefes the elder, right? It's read in verse 21. It says clearly that that Yefes is the eldest, right? And Shem is the middle, and then you have Cham. But what's interesting, he calls the brother of Yefes. Why does it say the brother of Yefes? Why does it say the brother of Yefes and Cham?
Because he wasn't born yet.
No. First they were born, right? It's after the flood, right? Because the answer is because he was brothers with Yefes in honoring their parents, right? They shared common values, right? It was not with Cham, right, who debased their father. Okay, go ahead.
Ophir, Havila, and Yobal. All these were the sons of Yoktan. Their dwelling place extended from Neshar going towards Sephar, the mountain to the east. These are the descendants of Shem, according to their families, by their languages, in their lands, by their nations. These are the families of Noah's descendants, according to their generations, in their nations, and from these nations were separated on the earth after the flood.
Okay, so right, and so we go ahead, and the Torah goes ahead, and kind of just puts out over here, right, just the generations, and these are where the 70 nations of the world are going to come from. Right, they hadn't come yet, right, because that's just going to happen in the beginning of chapter 11, which God willing we will get to next week. Yeah.
In the chapters we're going to read later after this.
Yeah.
It seems like the youngest child was always the most worthy child. And in this case, the youngest child was not the most worthy.
Right, so we'll have to again, it's yes and no. Yes and no. Right, there is something to being the firstborn, right? And but yes and no. Okay. Also, everyone, please don't forget to make reservations for the high holidays. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Torah View Wealth at 7:30 here in this room. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Right? We'll see you all, same bat time, same bat station.
Thank you, everybody.